Have you ever thought to yourself, man, I need to learn how to cut up a deer? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you don't even care. But today is your day to learn how. We're gonna cut up one hind quarter, one shoulder, and one back strap. And that's really all you need to know to cut up a deer. So let's get started. Now I know you might think I'm a movie star by the way I'm talking, but I'm actually not. I'm just a regular guy. So right here, we have a hind quarter off a doe I killed. So first, we're gonna start with taking this membrane off, because nobody likes to eat membrane. Time out. I need something to put scrap meat in. Okay. We're still taking the membrane off the meat because it has a bunch of, it can have hair, and depending on where you live, it can have cactus thorns and all kinds of stuff. You can see some thorns in it right here. All these little Wasatch thorns from our property. That's pretty much all we have out here. So if you take that membrane off, you should be able to get all those thorns out of there. All right, so once you get the membrane off, I'll cut this piece off too. This muscle is separate from this muscle. You can see a little line right here where the muscles separate. If you just take it here, you can separate it apart there. And then you can just go right down the muscle. Cut that little bit of connecting tissue in between. And then right here, this muscle is attached to a separate smaller muscle. You just want to kind of keep those together. And then right here, there is a gland that you want to try not to cut. Take that muscle off, and then you got this bigger muscle right here. You just go right next to the bone till you hit the joint there, and then cut between these two muscles. There's that bad boy. Then you got your round muscle here, which these two are the best for steaks. But I make steaks out of all the muscles, or all the big muscles. And this one, you just go around the bone. Take that whole piece off. This piece, I'm not worried about taking the muscles apart. I just use this piece for hamburger. It's kind of tough. So this piece, you'll grab the tendon right here by the hock. And just cut it off and back. And you'll take your knife right here, go down and just follow the bone. And cut that bad boy off. And then you can take these smaller pieces off that are just stragglers. done with one hindquarter. You can pause it. All right, so now I'm just cutting these little bits up for hamburger meat. The grinder we have doesn't take real big pieces, so you gotta cut it up pretty small. That should fit. Alright. First we'll start with this round muscle. So you got the round muscle and then there's another smaller muscle attached to it. I think it's the sirloin muscle. That's what some people call it. But you just clean that up, and you can either cut it in half or leave it whole, whichever one you want. I'll probably cut it into a few steaks. And you got some steaks there. So the round muscle has a chunk on top that you don't really want to have in your steaks. You'll cut next to or cut through the muscle just till you hit a point where the tendon is here, and you can just grab it and pull her off there. Cut that membrane off. And I'll just use this piece for hamburger meat too. Slice my fingers open this time. Oh, there's Dave. And I cut the bottom of this off because it's just a little tendony on this round muscle. This is my hamburger bowl here. Alright, so now we'll cut this one into steaks. This is the best muscle for steaks. It's got very little tendon in it. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. It's got a little piece of the meat on here with a tendon in it that you just slice off of there. I like my steaks about 3/4 inches thick. Just like that. And you be sure to cut against the grain, not with it. Alright, so this muscle here has a long tendon that runs on this side, and it's got a smaller tendon right in here. What I usually do is just cut the bulk of this tendon out. Just the bigger part that you can see. And this one, you just slide your knife right in there. Take this tendon off. And what I'll do, like I'm filleting a fish, just to get all the meat off it. Alright. And we'll make some more steaks. And 2 more pieces of hamburger meat. Alright. So that's how you do a hind quarter. So here's a shoulder. And this is the shoulder that it was shot in. So the first thing I'll do is just go here and take off all this bloodshot meat where this bullet hole was. Because we don't want that. I don't want it in my hamburger meat anyway. We'll take this piece off. Really, the shoulder, I'll just throw in the hamburger meat. Some people make a roast out of it. I'll show you how to cut one for a roast on the other shoulder. But same thing with shoulder. You'll just take that membrane off where it's got all the thorns and what have you in there. Because nobody wants to eat thorns. Doesn't look too bad. This back side is a little bit bloodshot. Is that a frog back there? Right now I'm just trying to get all this bloodshot stuff off. Alright. So right here there's a big chunk of fat and it's got a gland in it that you don't want to eat unless you're nasty. But I don't want to eat that gland, so I'll just cut the meat off around it. And that'll go in my hamburger. Pull this piece in my hamburger. If you're doing hamburger, you don't really have to be too precise on where you cut on these shoulders. Then what I'll do is just go right along this shoulder bone, just peel that meat off. Same thing on this side. You can just take your knife right along the bone. There's a bone right here. Then take this piece off. You're basically just following the bone on the shoulder. Just follow the bone. Alright, so right here, let me get this bloody stuff off. Alright, so right here, if you come in for a close-up there, right here there's a bone that raises up off the actual shoulder bone. It's part of it, it just sticks up. So just cut down that bone. And then just turn your knife, and then you can slice it right between there. Get it back in there. And you can just take that piece right out. And there's another muscle on this side of the shoulder. There, and you can grab from underneath, slice it on off of there, and there's your shoulder. See, this is the bone here. I'll just get the rest of this little stuff off. All I did was with that last shoulder is cut it into little pieces for hamburger meat. This one I'm going to show you how to make a shoulder roast. In case you want to just eat your shoulder whole. But first I'm going to get all this bloodshot stuff off of here just like I did the last one. Because you don't really want that in your roast. Shoulder's not really the greatest for a shoulder roast just because it is bloodshot. What I like to do is just cook these shoulders in the crock pot. Alright, so then you're going to grab this piece of fat right here, just like on the last one. Just cut it right off of there. You still want to get this membrane off. I didn't quite get all that fat off of there. Alright. So then, all you're going to do is cut right up here where this joint is. Now let me get this off. There's grass in there. You want to get these fat pockets out because there's glands in there that won't taste very good. Alright, so right here at this joint, it's been a while since I've done this, so forgive me, but there is a joint here. It might take me a second to find it. You know what? I lied to you. I lied to you. It's up here. Joint somewhere up here. Bear with me, I don't do too many shoulder roasts. But I am going to figure it out at some point. Maybe it's right there. Is a little bit farther back than I was thinking. All right. And there would be your shoulder roast. And you can just season it and throw it in your crock pot. Leave it in there for several hours. There you go. All right. So next we have a back strap. On the back strap you're going to have a lot of tendon right here. But I'm going to show you how to take that off. So you just kind of trim along the edge here. Trim a little bit of that side. Try to get all this tendon off. And you'll grab it here and you can pull the bulk of this tendon and membrane off. On the back side, there's a piece of meat right here on top of the tendon. You just scrape that off to expose that tendon. Then, just make your little cut here, not all the way through, just down to the tendon. So you can see it just went to the tendon. Then you'll turn your knife flat. Just grab it and slide your knife right down it. I think my knife might have cut through some of that tendon though. But stand by. There. And that'll take that tendon out of there. Alright, so on the back strap, you can either butterfly it, or I'll usually just slice it at an angle to make them a little longer. Don't look like that. But if you butterfly one, you'll cut it a little thicker. And then just cut it almost all the way through. And it'll lay out like that when you go to cook it. But I don't typically do that because it takes more time. So I'll just slice them. Just like so. And there's your back strap. Okay. And up next, take it in and vacuum seal it all and grind up some hamburger. Should be some great fun. All right, so that concludes the video. If you like my videos, hit the subscribe button and go process some deer.